Hey everyone, Kyle McCutcheon here. I'm an attorney at Provident Law, and today I wanted to discuss the Corporate Transparency Act and the new requirements for most businesses under it. So, the Corporate Transparency Act, often referred to as the CTA, is a federal law that requires FinCEN, another acronym, which is the U.S. Department of Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, to implement a reporting system to track certain identifying information about key people within a company. The purpose is to help prevent and combat the use of shell and front companies for things like money laundering, terrorist financing, and other fraudulent activities. So, under the new CTA requirements, there are two terms that you need to be familiar with. The first is company applicants, and then the second is beneficial owners. Those are the individuals that you have to report certain information about to FinCEN, including things like the residential address, date of birth, and passport or driver's license information. It can become quite confusing as to who a company applicant is and a beneficial owner is, depending on the complexity of the entity. So just to elaborate on those, a company applicant is generally an individual who was involved with the formation of the company. So that might be your attorney, your attorney's paralegal or secretary, or if you didn't use an attorney, you need to figure out who was tasked with forming the entity. The CTA generally defines a beneficial owner as someone with at least 25% ownership interest in the company, or someone who substantially controls a company. So the first part of that's relatively easy to figure out and is objective and concrete, 25% ownership. But trying to determine who has substantial control over a company is much more complex, depending on the entity. For example, C-level executives, they're going to have substantial control inherently in the company. But the CTA also includes those who direct or have substantial influence over important decisions made by the reporting company. So, needless to say, that's pretty broad net. So it's really helpful to talk this through with an attorney or someone else that you know is knowledgeable about the CTA. All right, now compliance timelines. The CTA gives companies created on or after January 1st of this year, 2024, they have 90 days to file their initial report. The report is called a beneficial ownership information report, and companies created prior to January 1st have to file the report before January 1 of 2025. And it's important to know that this report doesn't have to be filed annually, but if there is any information that's reported and that information changes, like a beneficial owner moves residence, for example, then the company has 30 days to file an updated report. So as you can see, it's really quite burdensome, and you have to stay on top of it. And the penalties for non-compliance are serious. Penalties include fines of up to $500 a day, not to exceed $10,000, and potentially up to 2 years imprisonment. There are some lawsuits pending over the CTA that we continue to monitor and that are at various stages in the litigation process. So it's possible that there could be some changes to it down the road, but for now the CTA requirements stand, and companies should take these take the CTA seriously and take steps to comply to avoid penalties. So yeah, if you have any questions regarding the Corporate Transparency Act or need assistance to file your beneficial ownership information report, feel free to contact me or a member of our team. So thanks for tuning in.